Hey guys, it's Mike here with Cooking with Candora. In partnership with Raheem's Care and the Edmonton Food Bank, we'll be cooking 3 meals with you today. Let's go! In your bag that the potato's a little bit dirty, so all you're going to do is you're going to bring it over to the sink. You're going to wash it the best you can. Try to get all the dirt off, use your fingers. If you've got a scrub brush at home, you can scrub it with your vegetable brush if you have one of those. So this is our potatoes. This is 2 cups of potatoes. We're going to dice our potatoes. We're just going to cut them in half like that. Then we're going to cut them in half again like that. So they're separated. And we're just going to do it into cubes. And then cubes. This one backwards, but that's okay. Just cut it in the middle, just like that. Your carrot. You can tell that it's dirty just like the potato was. We're just going to bring it over to the sink. You're just going to scrub it. You can scrub it with your brush if you have your brush at home. Or if you don't have your brush, you can just firmly grip the carrot and rub it with your fingers until the dirt comes off the best you can. We're not going to peel this. Usually we peel it, but we're not going to peel it today because we're going to do a little bit of a rustic barley soup. So we're just going to cut off the ends, cut it into pieces just like the celery. Then you're just going to cut the circles in half, so they're like half circles. Then you're going to cut the half circle in half. Then you just line them up and then cut them here. Put them into our cup. Once again, we're going to go across until we have 2 halves. Then we're going to cut our 2 halves in half. You can also use your discretion if you want your pieces a little bit bigger. You can always make them bigger or smaller. It's totally up to you. It's your soup. We're going to cut our onion dice. We're going to dice our onion. But first we're going to take off the outside layer of the onion. So all we're going to do is cut off one end, cut off the other end, then we're just going to score it with the knife just to cause a seam in it so that we can take off the top layer, because that's all we want to take off. We don't want to waste too much. This one's a little bit thinner on top. Of course. Peeling it, making sure that all the outside layers off, just so it's like that. And discard of our. Then we're just going to cut in half. Now the way that I like to do it is I like to come up a little bit halfway between and just make a score across with your knife. Don't go all the way, just go halfway. And then you're going to turn it. We want these to be small diced pieces. We're just going to chop them like that. And then once they're chopped in a line that way, you're just going to come across this way. Just like that. We're actually start our soup, but first we're going to start off with some oil. You're going to get one of these. This is a huge bottle of oil. We're just giving you extra. All you're going to need is a tablespoon. That's this. If you have tablespoon measuring cups at home, you can use that. Or you can just use your big tablespoon. You have your small teaspoons and your big tablespoons. You can either use that, or you can use the spoons if you have them at home. So we're just going to add some. We're going to turn the heat on the oven. If you have a flame one, that's cool. We have a flame one. We're going to put it on medium-high heat, just so we can get the onion sauteing a bit. So you're just going to pour it into here, and then right into the pan. What I like to do is just give it a little bit of a shake, just to spread all that oil out a little bit. You can put more if you want to put more, that's totally up to you. I'm going to add a little bit more, just with the bottle, just to coat our pan. Because after we saute the onions, we're going to be putting in the meat. So we want to make sure onions go in there. And then our seasoning mix. So you're gonna get one of these packages. It's the Italian seasoning. You can actually turn your heat up a little bit higher, just so we can saute these. Then we're gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. You can put how much you want to put in. I'm just putting a little bit, maybe a teaspoon for each one, if you want to know the exact. Onions, so like I said, how they're translucent or they're kind of see-through a little bit, maybe a little bit shiny. They are a little bit crispy. We've crisped them a little bit. What we're going to do now is we're going to add your beef. This is your beef cubes that are going to go in. You can either keep them at that same size, or you can cut them. We're going to choose to keep them at the same size. But if you choose to make them maybe make it a little bit bigger, you can cut these pieces in half just with a knife. Cut them in half, or you can keep them the way that we're going to keep them. That's totally up to you. We're going to fry these at medium to high heat. So you're going to cook your beef until it's just brown on the outside. We don't want to cook it all the way through, because it's going to cook with all the liquids and juices that we have inside. So you're either going to get one of these whole package of beef broth. You're going to pour this entire contents into there, or you're going to get a concentrated vegetable broth where you're going to have 3 cups of water, and one of these you're going to add your 1 container into there. And then you're just going to mix it. Just like that. And then we'll slowly add it. Just like that. A can of diced tomatoes or crushed tomatoes, whichever one you get. You're just going to add it slowly, and we'll stir it. Just like that. And then we have 1 tablespoon of your tomato paste. You're going to get it in something like this. It's going to be thicker than the barbecue sauce, so don't mix it up with the barbecue sauce. So you're going to put that in here. If you want, you can put a little bit more. So we're just going to put a little bit more. It's totally up to you how much you want to use. Once again, it's your soup. Then we're just going to stir in the beef broth. The tomato paste. We'll just stir it in slightly so that tomato paste gets in everywhere. Then we're going to let that simmer for 25 minutes. So you're going to put it on medium heat. Put a lid over it if you have a lid. Fortunately, we don't have a lid right now, so if you have a lid, put a lid over it. 25 minutes on medium heat. So now, after 25 minutes of our stew cooking here on the oven, we're going to add our vegetables, which is the carrots that we chopped up earlier, the potatoes that we chopped up earlier into cube size, and then your celery just chopped up into cube size as well. So you're just going to take your whole bowl. When you're cutting them, we ask that you put everything into the same bowl so that it's all into one. Then you're just going to add slowly. Stir it in. It's starting to look really hearty already, which is good. That's what we want. Nice hearty soup. especially on those cold days. Just like that. Then we're gonna render it down to the way we want it, the way you want your soup. Leave it there for 25 minutes. Let that sit and boil, cook. Okay guys, so what you're gonna do now is you're gonna have your can of peas and peaches and cream or niblets, one of the two. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna, if you have a cylinder in your kitchen, you can use one of these. If you don't, you can also rinse it out in the can. Just fill up the can with water. And then put the lid back on and just do that. Just drain it like that if you don't have anything. But if you do, like we do, you're just gonna put them into your strainer. And the pea is the same thing. You're just gonna put it into the strainer. Now the reason why you wanna rinse these is because they're in a preservative to keep them fresh. You don't want to put that in the soup, obviously, so we're just going to rinse them as best as we can. Okay guys, now that we've rinsed our vegetables in the can, in our strainer, we're going to take the lid off. As you can see, it is boiling already. It's rendering down a little bit. We're going to add our canned veggies. Stir it in. Just try to mix it about so you have evenly everywhere, just so that it cooks evenly. And we're just going to put the lid on again for 10 minutes, just to cook those veggies in the can a little bit. Okay guys, this is our finished product of our beef and vegetable soup. As you can see, all the potatoes are cooked, the meat's nicely done, the juices are nicely filling all the vegetables. Then we'll get some broth, pour it over. Just like that.